On September the 15th, 2007, Don Amero walked off his job as a hardwood flooring installer and set out to pursue his music career full-time. And it turned out to be a very good move. Today, with numerous #1 hits and awards, including Aboriginal Songwriter of the Year and Male Artist of the Year, Don is truly making his mark on Canada's music industry, and we're happy to have him here on Full Circle. Don, welcome.
Thanks. I just want to say you guys all look beautiful and springy today.
Oh, well, thank you.
What else? What else?
Yeah. You're welcome back.
Straight off the top.
Anytime. Anytime. Okay, well, I have to talk about who is sitting next to you.
Oh, this is Rosie, my guitar.
She's lovely.
Yeah,
she's looking beautiful too as well.
She's great. She's been very good to me. We've only been together for about a year and a half or 2 years, but those 2 years have been great so far.
But you've been doing music for several years now, and as I said earlier, you just decided full-time to pursue your music career, and I want to get to that in a moment. But first, take us back to Winnipeg, because that's where you grew up.
Yeah, I grew up right in the north end of Winnipeg, which I mean, it has its history. You know, I think Winnipeg, the north end of Winnipeg particularly, is where you tend to hear a lot of the bad stories, and there's a lot of gangs that sort of have kind of been in the area, and a lot of poverty. And our family grew up right in the midst of this, and you know, and I know it's one of those things that is really in the media a lot. And I grew up with you know, some of the struggles of you know, a kid growing up with poverty, and my family divorced. My mom and dad divorced when I was 12. And so it was a bit of a challenge for me, and I found I had to grow up very fast.
You had siblings, Don?
Yeah, I've got 3 brothers.
3 brothers.
1 older, 2 younger. And so through that, I think that I knew that as I was growing up with all these situations around me, and in particular, my mom got involved with a really bad guy after my parents divorced. He was a guy that we all tried to love, but he was physically and emotionally abusive, and he did have HIV, and my mom didn't know that for the first few years of their relationship. And so for me as a kid, seeing all this, I think it really pushed me to grow up very fast, and that's kind of informed a lot of my writing too. And writing for me became a bit of a therapy, because I knew that my life could go into gangs or drugs and alcohol, and sort of give myself over to that. But for me, I started writing songs about the situations that I was going through. And now, looking back all these years later, I know that it was a therapy for me. And in a way, my music, I believe, is becoming a therapy for other people and the listeners that are hearing it.
But Don, how's a young you know, teen, you went into writing versus going into gangs? Because a lot of young people struggle with that. I mean, there's peer pressure to join in with, you know, where a belonging, a place where you can belong. How did you? I was probably
just too chicken or scared, you know. Because I mean, there was like an initiation thing too, that you'd have to do something where either you'd have to get beat up or go beat somebody. It was just terrible stuff. Like, and I mean, that's, you know, probably the simplest form of initiation into a gang. I think it gets worse from there, but. For me, I realized that I started writing when I was 15 years old, and nobody knew for the first 3 or 4 years that I was writing that I was just kind of did it in my basement and kept to myself. My mom always thought I was great, but I didn't really want to take it outside of that, because I just felt, you know, I didn't know I had anything. It was actually in grade 9, for the first time I ever tried singing in front of people. I really liked this girl in grade 9, I wanted her to notice me, so I thought I'd audition for the school play. And when I was done the song, it was Oklahoma, from the play Oklahoma.
Rogers and Hammerstein.
Yeah, so I started singing the song, and at the end of it, you know, O-K-L-A-H-O-M. Anyways, so I finished, and it's not even like a crying type song, but the teacher was crying and 3 girls in the front were crying. And I was like, was I that bad? And I got the lead role. And so from there, I just kept auditioning for plays and realized I got something.
Did you get the girl?
Yeah, we need to know that part.
Not that one, but I got the right one a few years later.
Oh, nice. Good one. That was
answer.
Good.
You know, part of your story is like you were getting kind of not in with a great crowd before 15, and then you really had this encounter with God. Tell me about that, because that kind of did change the trajectory that you could have been on, didn't it?
It's interesting the way things that have happened turn out in my life. I've got an older brother that seemed to do a lot of the wrong things and kind of walk a path. I love my brother. My brother's a great guy. He's got 3 wonderful kids, and he does what he can to take care of them. And I think that he's a really good guy. But I think that he would even, you know, say that he tended to walk a different path and kind of walk the one that I didn't want to walk. And I learned through him and the trials and tribulations of the things that he went through, going, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to find myself in a situation where I saw him sort of struggling with things. And so for me, I decided that was a way that I learned. And so one of the things which was really interesting is he started going to church before me. And I had always believed in something. I didn't know what it was. I remember even as a kid, like a little 10-year-old kid, and praying, but I didn't know I was praying. And I remember sort of thinking about my family and praying for them, but praying to who, and I didn't understand. And so my brother's going to church, and I got really jealous. And I said, well, I want to go to church. You know, I'm the guy that always believes in something. Why are you going to church? He was going to church also because he liked a girl. But
Of course.
that's what we do, eh?
You guys.
So I started going to church, and they had put on a play called Heaven's Gatehouse Flames. And I think it was a big play in the 90s. I'm not sure if it's still going on.
I think it's still touring even today. Yeah.
It's a pretty important play, I think, because it speaks about the people that are saved and those are not. And for me, I was an easy save because I knew that I had believed in something already, and understanding that it was this Jesus and giving my life over to them and to God, to them, Jesus and God, and sort of just handing my life over and realizing that it was an easy thing. And I've never really complicated my faith beyond that. I've always sort of kept it as just love and be love in the world and through what I do, and I've really kept it simple. And I think that's the key to my success as far as being a person that's a faithful follower of Christ.
Well, childlike faith is all we're required of. You know, it doesn't have to be complicated and deep and sophisticated. It has to be simple, like you said, and surrendered. And then God pours the deep and draws us and calls us to the deep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So your music. Now tell us, there was a particular song that you, and I know you've got your guitar there for a reason, that you want to tell us about.
Well, when I first started, my very first CD is called Change Your Life, and the song that sort of really got the title of the CD going, and it was this one I'm going to show you guys. It's called Help This World. And Help This World was a song I wrote realizing that I wanted to write music that would encourage and inspire people to do better things for themselves and the world around them. And it just speaks to the situation maybe in our world today. And maybe I'll just play a little bit for you here. So it's... I wanna fix the world, make it better for the boys and girls. How much more can it take? And we gotta heal this land while the power's in our hands. Make it a better place. Help this world from falling all apart, from drifting all away. Help this world while we still can, while the healing's in our hands. So that's a sample of it.
Oh, I love to see more.
Beautiful.
Encore.
Oh, you're such a huge talent.
So the thing is, Don, you find God in the church, and then you like Cheryl's saying, the trajectory of your life has changed and become an artist. But how do you become this amazing artist who's winning all these awards and still maintain this strong faith in God without kind of losing, kind of going off the other path, but also being relevant and accessible to people that don't know him?
Well, I think I was speaking backstage about this, I think to you ladies, about how my heart has always been to just, I think I said it already, be love and just act, accordingly and be this character that just people see as just a good, loving person, and I think they'll want to know more. And I'm hoping that the songs and the lyrics in the songs will inform them a little bit more about maybe my spiritual side, and because I think that my music is definitely informed by spirituality in me, and for me, it was an easy step for me to just say I wanted to write music that was encouraging and inspiring and help people to just understand that because this was a therapy for me, I'm hoping it can be a therapy for them.
And you must be part of what you were sharing with me, that there's a growing pride amongst Aboriginal young people, which is thrilling to hear about.
Yeah.
What a role model you are.
Well, I think that, today's day and age, like just looking around, the music, Aboriginal music scene, it's got its own scene, which is really cool, and it's expanding and it's growing, and I'm just glad to be part of the generation that's changing things a little bit, and I think it's an exciting time. So.
What do you see changing? Because I know, I'd heard you say that as well, that you see hope. And I think some of the struggles that we've seen within the Aboriginal community is a sense of hopelessness.
Yeah.
So what's bringing hope? What do you see changing?
I think, I mean, maybe it's social networking. That's been interesting, because I think that now all of a sudden, instead of having to get in front of a camera to maybe voice some of your opinions on things, you just have to sit in front of your computer at home and sort of share some of your thoughts. And I think people are becoming more and more aware of, like, this situation amongst the people of all across Canada. I have a hard time putting my finger on it exactly what it is, but I just know that from what I've witnessed, even the 5 years that I've been involved in music, in the music business, and particularly involved in the music, Aboriginal side of music, I've really seen a growth in just the talent and the ability that the artists have, and being able to write music that is going to change, I think, a bit of the world in a way. So.
And despite the trouble you've had in your own home life and growing up, your music project seems to be all about family. Brother-in-law did the CD cover.
Yes,
one song is dedicated to Dad. It's lovely to see that.
Well, I think that another thing that I think has been a bit of a key to my success is the fact that I've always written honestly. I don't write about stuff I don't know about. You know, I think it's easy to write a pop song of some sort that I have nothing to do with. I think that happens all too often, people writing stuff, especially in hip-hop. It's so funny to me when you hear guys with a CD, they're first recording it in their basement, they're talking about having 10 cars and all this bling, and they have no car, they ride a bicycle. And so,
they're walking there going, yo, yo, you know, you don't even talk like that.
And so for me, I obviously it's a different genre of music, but I write about stuff that I know, and I know my family, and I know my life around me, and so it's been real easy for me to write about stuff that I'm